I'm worried, guys. I'm worried. These Celtics, I mean, game six was not what I thought it was going to be at all. You can break it down in a lot of ways. 42%. They shot 42% from the field. They shot 29% from three. Their leading scorer was Jalen Brown, who had 18, shot 7 for 17. I don't, we didn't have a single starter shoot over 50% from the field. I mean, you just Maxi scored 30. Was it the Maxi game? Embiid didn't even play that well on offense, at least. He 19 and 10. He did have 8 assists. Um, Paul George was 5 for 9 from three, 23 points. Just trying to make sense of it, guys. 106 to 93, the Sixers force game seven. And I'm worried. I'm worried about Tatum's leg. He left the game with calf soreness. Thankfully, it was in the calf in the opposite leg from the one he tore his Achilles on, so I think that's a good sign, but not really because now both his legs hurt. I mean, it's worrying. I don't like it when players try to play through injuries where they can't really be themselves. It's just concerning to see the quick return from the Achilles injury, and then you worry about maybe overcompensating on the other leg, and just I don't know. Game seven, he says he's going to play. I hope he plays well. I just you worry that he's both of his legs are hurt, and you don't want to see your guys running out feeling like they could be injured at any moment, and I worry about the risk of re-injury for him. It looks bleak going in. We're going to be favorites. The Celtics are going to be favorites going into Game Seven. Game Six was a everything went wrong. Everything. I mean, there wasn't a good moment. It was one of the hardest games to watch because there wasn't a moment where you thought, we were trailing from start to finish, and you know, not didn't have a single starter shoot over 50% from the field. I mean, the only bright spot was maybe Derek White, who hit a couple of threes, but it just wasn't nearly enough. There was one moment where I thought maybe Derek White was going to go on a little hot streak, but he made a three, shot another one with confidence, just didn't go in and couldn't really get any momentum from it. So just really, really sick at the way Game Six went. I don't think Celtics fans anticipated this. I mean, now we're looking at the series in a whole new light. It's like, the Sixers were the seven seed. Their expectations were kind of not that high coming into the season. Like Embiid has been hurt a lot. He's good when he plays, but you can't rely on him to be healthy. Edgecombe is a rookie. I mean, Maxi's still young. Paul George is past his prime. You just kind of felt like this team didn't really have it. And then all of a sudden, they're all healthy at the same time and they look good. You got George turning back the clock a little bit. You got Edgecombe who's exceeded all expectations in his first year. You got Maxi playing like an absolute superstar. You got Embiid protecting the rim. I mentioned his 8 assists. Yeah, Drummond can't miss from three all of a sudden, and this team just looks. Quentin Grimes is playing absolutely fantastic basketball. He maybe single-handedly won them that game five game, where they just, he had a stretch in the second half where he was getting stops on his own. He had some explosive dunks. You just feel like he's going to make it when he shoots an open three. And that team, top to bottom, is playing very well, and it's scary. It's scary for the Celtics in game seven, and it's scary for the Knicks if the Sixers are able to come out of this. I mean, credit to Philly. They've been playing really well. So I had to open with that because the Sixers won as underdogs. It was surprising, obviously being a big Celtics fan, just not what our fan base was expecting at all. And now we're gonna have to prove it in Game Seven. But that was not the only surprising thing that happened yesterday. And in fact, it probably might have been the least interesting of these games. I mean, the second half of Knicks Hawks probably wasn't very interesting, but a blowout of the proportions that we've never seen in the playoffs. They had the largest halftime lead the Knicks did over the Hawks ever in the playoffs, and just What credit to them for shutting down the narrative. After game three, when they were down 2-1, you had people ready to, move on from that core. Like, what did we do with Mikal Bridges? Even my last pod, I was talking about how even after their wins, Mikal Bridges was still struggling. He had an excellent game six for New York, as did their entire roster. 140 to 89, a 51-point win in the playoffs in Atlanta. Just humiliating for them. I mean, all the narratives about, CJ being able to close these games. This one, the second half wasn't even competitive. So nothing to close out for CJ. I think the Hawks team was just too inexperienced. They weren't quite ready for the stage, and it showed. And then the Nuggets go home. And then what a game for the Timberwolves. I mean, to see Jaden McDaniels drop 32 and 10 and lock down Jamal Murray. I don't know how it ended, but I saw a stat in the second half of this game saying that Jamal Murray was 1 for 8 when Jaden McDaniels was guarding him. I mean, what a defensive performance, holding the Nuggets under 100. The way that their offense has played this year, the numbers that Jokic put up, averaging a triple double. Um, just the way that the Nuggets have scored all year, and then to get to the playoffs against the Timberwolves and not be able to do it with any sort of consistency. Jokic had a good second half, and it was almost symbolic of this entire series, the way he struggled in the first half and then played better in the second half. I think you saw that as well, where he struggled in the first half of the series and played better the last few games. But it just wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough without Ant. Credit to Minnesota for standing their ground at home. This was an inspiring effort to watch. TJ Shannon coming out of absolutely nowhere, didn't even play, didn't even log a minute in multiple games in this series before this. And to come out tonight and score 24 with some explosive dunks, by the way. He really looked like he had explosive speed. He could get by Jamal Murray. When Jaden McDaniels called them all bad defenders, it looked like they really backed that up, putting their bench rotation pieces that are playing due to these injuries and going and able to score on Murray and Jokic. They really backed up Jaden McDaniels' talk, which is fun to watch, and really impressive stuff from the Minnesota Timberwolves, who will now move on to play the Spurs in the next round and already opened as 13.5-point dogs in San Antonio in game one on Monday. Um, I mean, that's an interesting line. I'm not sure if it will shift. I think Ant may be able to return in that series, which should make it a really fun one, but probably not for game one. So without Ant on the road, if the Timberwolves being 13.5-point favorites, that's larger than they were in any game against Denver, including the game five on the road in Denver. They were only about 11 point underdogs. And here they are opening at 13. Just how gritty they are. My initial reaction is to like the Timberwolves in that game against the spread, at least. You'd have to think San Antonio will be the overwhelming favorite in that series, as they should be. But if the Timberwolves are able to put it together anything like they did against Denver, look out. Look out, because they play with a lot of heart. They play for each other. This is some of the most cohesive basketball I've seen, and it's really fun to watch. Julius Randle's really stepped up. Every guy in their role really stepped up to the plate, and they played for each other. They wore the DiVincenzo jerseys to show support. DiVincenzo was there so soon after he tore his Achilles to show support for the team, and it's on to San Antonio for them. We got three games tonight, and let's just take a moment to appreciate how good these playoffs are. I mean, I think going into these playoffs, you expected the East to be boring in the first round. You expected the Pistons, the Knicks, the Celtics, the Cavs to all win, and all of a sudden, the Celtics are in Game 7. Orlando is winning. They were up 3 games to 1. Now we have a Game 6 in Orlando with a chance for them to close it out. Cleveland went up 2-0 and then lost back to back in Toronto. They play in Toronto again, up 3-2. None of these series have really went the way that we anticipated, maybe with the exception of the Knicks, who were able to close things out. And even they had their struggles early in that series. So the Eastern Conference first round series have just been absolutely incredible. And it's been so fun out west too. You hate to see the injuries. You hate to be worried about Tatum's leg, which I'm going to keep going back to. I mean, you just hope it doesn't become a story, but I kind of feel like it already is. Especially if they lose, it's just, or if they win and go on to the first round and it continues to be a storyline. I hope he takes rest if he needs it. I hope he doesn't feel the need to play every game, even this game seven. If it doesn't feel right, I wouldn't want him to force it. Just take care of himself. But and then obviously Ant going down, DiVincenzo tearing his Achilles, but Edwards may come back. So we got that going on. The West has been fun. The Thunder series, maybe the exception there with a boring sweep from them, but the Lakers surprisingly went up 3-0 and now lost back-to-back games, and Houston's a home favorite tonight with the opportunity to force a game seven. That one should be a fun one. Um, you know, Not Kevin Durant out again. So I mean they won two now without him, but will they be able to force a game seven? That one will be fun to watch. Toronto also with the opportunity to force a game seven. I think that one would surprise a lot of people. Cleveland's 4.5 point favorite that game tonight. I would pick Toronto to cover because I think it'll be a close game. I don't see Cleveland hasn't been able to dominate really Toronto this series, and I expect these games to continue to be close. I would consider that game more of a toss up instead of Cleveland being a favorite. So I would pick Toronto in that game. Orlando hosting Detroit tonight, the opportunity. I do like them to close it out. I think that those teams have just been so evenly matched, it looked like, and Orlando took a couple of them from Detroit in the first few games, and you just feel like they really are playing with a lot of heart. I think the Pistons showed in the last game why they won 60 games during the regular season. At least Jalen Duren played better. I mean the Banchero versus Cunningham, where they each dropped 45 in the last game, was just really special to watch. And you expect these guys to continue to perform at a high level. I think the aggressiveness of Orlando might be the key, or if they can finally get some shots going. They weren't a good three-point shooting team all season. They lost last game, but they shot 45% from three. 6 of 11 for Banchero, 4 for 10 from Bain. Desmond Bain being able to score and connect from three on a team that doesn't specialize in shooting threes. You may expect that to be one of the difference makers in Game Six, and probably the best chance for Orlando to close it out would be tonight at home, and I do expect it to be a close game. I expect Orlando to do it. I expect them to close it out tonight, so we'll see. Some fun games coming up. Next segment I want to do here, it's a quick one. I just want to start making a bet that I feel really confident about, one that I can share with you guys, and just feel like it's probably going to hit, and I'm going to do that with the games tonight. And my pick is going to be Raptors plus 4.5. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. I feel like that's going to be a close game. You got a lot of dynamics at play there. You got Harden playing in a game six. You feel like he's probably going to be off his game a little bit. You all know how I feel about Harden when the lights are bright. You got Mitchell who's been playing bad all series. They've had three good wins at home, but you just kind of Scotty Barnes has been putting up near triple doubles. RJ Barrett's been playing with a lot of heart, and I think the Raptors are going to make this at least a competitive game, and you just feel like in a game that's going back and forth, you'll take 4.5 points. I think the Raptors are the best bet tonight, and that's my Lions roar pick. So let's get it, Raptors. So that's it for today. Thanks, guys, for listening. We'll be back soon talking about these games that are going to happen tonight. We got a big game seven for the Celtics on Saturday. We got some potential game sevens depending on how the games tonight go, and we'll be back to talk about it. It's a great time to be a fan of the NBA right now.